Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Forest family, and welcome to another live stream on our Forest Fans Hub channel. Great to be back on again, and we've got a special guest today. So we're going to be talking about, obviously, looking forward to tomorrow's game against Spurs at the World Famous, and we'll be getting the views of myself, Joe, and our special guest Wolverine tonight. Please, guys, engage in the chat, comments and leave your questions for us as well. Good evening, Kel. Great to see you on as always. It's great to have your support, and hope to see a few more regulars on our chat today. Evening, Kev. Good to see you on the chat, mate. Hopefully we'll have some really great content for you tonight. So please engage with us and give us any questions or comments that you'd like to point towards us. So as usual, I've got my main man Joe with me. So Joe, talk about a little bit about what you're looking forward to tomorrow's game, mate, and then we'll pass on to Wolverine to give his comments.
Yeah, evening everyone, evening Ez, evening Wolverine. Really looking forward to this stream. But I think the main thing I'm looking forward to is there's only one more sleep to go before me and Ez are going to our first Premier League game at the City Ground. I'm absolutely buzzing. I just can't wait to be in that atmosphere and just sat in that ground. I think one of the main bits I'm probably looking forward to is just sitting there and kind of taking it all in, even before the kickoff, getting to see loads of the fans who we've spoken to on this channel and other channels, and then getting to see everyone in the ground and just enjoying being there. I cannot wait for it. So I hope to meet as many people that are in the chat that are going to be there as possible. Yeah, I think today we're just going to be talking about pretty much the focus is going to be on tomorrow's game, what our feelings are, how we think we're going to line up, where we think it's going to go. And then I think there's a good chance to talk about transfer news as well, because I think there's been some new developments, which I think our guest has kind of covered really well in his video that he put up earlier today.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wolverine, our special guest, please introduce yourself. I'm sure most of our viewers already know you, but yeah, for anybody who doesn't, talk about yourself and your channel. And yeah, go ahead, my friend.
Evening, guys. Evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well and ready for the big one tomorrow. You said one more sleep, Joe. I don't know if I'm going to sleep, mate. this one's too big for me with the blood rivalry I've got with my brother on this. He's a Spurs fan. We went to, do you remember when we played in the, what was it called back then? The Carling Cup, when Piercy was in charge. That was the last match that the two of us been able to sit together, Forest versus Spurs. But in terms of league matches, it's been too long, and I'm just dying for this one. So yeah, for those of you guys who don't know me, I do daily Forest videos on my channel. It's youtube.com/Wolverine. Nothing else to add to it. That kind of simple. But yeah, it'll be daily transfer news over the summer. We'll do the watch along, so we'll have the Spurs watch along tomorrow. As well as fan forums and everything else, anything related to Forest. But yeah, in terms of tomorrow's match, this is huge, and I'm not in the boat. I've seen a lot of Forest fans being negative about the result on this one, guys. And I know Spurs are a decent team. I know Spurs have got, Conte, but we got Cooper, man. We got Cooper. Let's not forget, this time last year, we were bottom of the championship, and we're sitting here today on the eve of taking on Spurs, having beaten West Ham, having been screwed over late in the Everton game. We won't talk about Newcastle. That was, that is what it is, us just coming back into the Premier League. But we need to feel, as a fan base, that we belong here. Be it against Man City on Wednesday, Spurs tomorrow, or poor Bournemouth got slapped around today. It doesn't matter. We're one of the 20 teams. And I'm looking at it now. Fulham, we're ahead at Arsenal. It's now 1-0. But anyone is beating everyone at the moment in the Premier League. And why can't we do that? I look at our squad, and we'll talk about it later with the transfer news and everything. But could you have imagined we've gone from Max Lowe and Bong, and we're now talking about potentially Lodi at left back from Forest, who are bottom of the league this time last. It's mind-blowing. It really is.
Absolutely. And yeah, we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that link later on in the show. But it is so exciting. And even when we've been in the Premier League before, it's never been like this, has it? This is something unique to all of us. I've never experienced anything like this, And I got to see the 94-95 Collymore season and Brian Roy season. And that was without doubt the best season I've ever seen. I've mentioned that before, but this is something I predict something real special going to happen this season. And it's just to even have this conversation from a year ago, like you alluded to, my friend. It's unbelievable. We couldn't have dreamt of it, even in our wildest dreams. We couldn't have dreamt of that from where we were exactly a year ago to where we are now. It's unbelievable. But it's going to be a big game tomorrow, and the atmosphere is going to be as impressive as the West Ham game, if not even more tomorrow. I just don't see the fans letting up. It was West Ham was an amazing experience, and I was lucky enough to be there. But yeah, tomorrow I expect it will carry. It will just take it to the next level. If we could go to a next level, the fans will take it to another level tomorrow.
We will.
Really look forward to the challenge as well. It will be one hell of a challenge against them, and we shouldn't be going in with any fear at all. You know, like you say, the squad that we're building, or Cooper's building for us, is one to be proud of. You know, we'll see where we go with it. You know, but it's been a positive start, and like you said, it's something that Joe alluded to last week about how we've brought the championship mentality into the Premier League, and everybody's beating each other, and nobody, even at one point today, City were down 2-0 at half time against a very good Palace team, but Man City showed their strength and how they're another level as well. So it's going to be an amazing week. There's a few ups and downs this week, and I'm really looking forward to it. But this is what we wanted. This is what we were waiting for. This is what we waited 23 years for. So let's enjoy it, up or down, high or low. Let's enjoy it all the way. Joe, let's. So yeah, you've touched on it. Tomorrow's going to be your first home. Well, certainly your first Premier League game, isn't it, for Forest, and certainly the first game at home. So that brings an extra added excitement about it. Yeah, elaborate more on that, my friend.
Well, I think it just kind of goes without saying, really. I know there's quite a few people who are lucky enough to still be living around that area and can go to games regularly. As I've kind of said on previous shows, I moved away about 10 years ago, and I've been able to go to this sporadic occasional game with my father. But other than that, it was kind of just on a whim. It was never anything that was really planned out. And then I've always just been following other streamers, or try and watch it on TV where I can. I'll always have it coming up on my phone, and then as soon as we go down 1-0, I then turn off notifications and lose interest. But then as soon as, like, last year, like throughout the entire season, I've never felt so as part of the group of people who are massive Forest fans. I felt almost involved, and I was very privileged to kind of get that opportunity from watching other people's streams, just watching people talk about Forest and watching their vlogs from Forest. So I've always kind of been able to watch it from that perspective, but it has been a very long time since I've been able to get to a game, and this is going to be my first ever game of seeing Forest in the top flight. So
he's too young, isn't he? He's just too young. Not enough grey hair on him.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, so I think when we were last in the Premier League, I was probably about 4. So I don't think my dad probably thought it was wise to take me to a game when I was that young. So, but I remember going to games when we were in the Championship, in League One, going to the occasional cup game, going to games away from home when we were playing teams who I have other affiliations with through my parents. But it was never anything that I've kind of followed every single game in. And I think this year, especially with this channel as well that we've kind of set up, and just everybody else's, how we can all talk to each other and stuff, I feel like I'm going to get there tomorrow. I think me and Az have already been planning out our day, and I've said I want to get there almost as early as possible, just so I can almost see everyone who's involved here. I'd love to meet absolutely everyone who's in this chat, who I've spoken to on different channels. And I think that's one of the main things I'm looking forward to the most. I'm looking forward to meeting all these people who I've spoken to through a screen, and who I've wrote messages to, and actually see them in person. I think that's going to be a really good experience for me. And almost that's irrelevant of the score. We could get absolutely hammered tomorrow, and I'd still enjoy the experience that I had leading up to that game. So I cannot wait.
I can't say I'd agree with you on the enjoyment part tomorrow if we get hammered, mate, because I won't hear the end of it. But it's not going to happen. But I know exactly what you're saying. It's like, I haven't lived in Nottingham for many a year now, and you miss that place. It's the best place on earth to live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you miss it. You miss it. And obviously we grow up, you get families, kids and everything like that. And yeah, your responsibilities change. But you're right. There's been a coming together of the fan base over the last 12 months. And it's really well knitted. It doesn't matter if, you know, your opinion on a certain player matches that of another fan. There's still that common goal that we're in the Premier League. We bond together. We work together. We back the boys, regardless of who should play and who shouldn't. And we just keep being positive towards the results. And that's why I will go into every game. I'm going to the City game on Wednesday. Couldn't get tickets in the away end, so I'm going undercover in the home end. There's plenty of seats, guys. Guys, Man City can't sell out anything, so there's plenty of seats there. But again, it's another bonding experience for me because my oldest, shock horror, is a Man City fan. So I'm taking with him. I promised him when Forest get up, when not if, that we'd go and see a Premier League game, the two of those as well. So there's just so many things that rekindle. And what I'm really enjoying at the moment is Forest have gone from everyone loves Forest to suddenly, you know, I remember when we got promoted, I was getting so many messages from mates. Well done, congratulations. Thanks for the 6 points next season. Yeah. To now suddenly people are, you know, a little bit hesitant to add that old 6 points at the end of the old WhatsApp message now. So it's we're turning some heads. We're doing it the right way. And I'm expecting a good season.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, bro. I think we've got the opportunity now like we've never had before with a team, the squad that he's building, and the players that we're even just being linked with just takes us up to another level each time, you know, whether we get some of these players or not. The fact that we're even being put in the same conversation is mind-blowing at the moment. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a real test. You know, I mean, every game's a test. It's another level, isn't it? West Ham were one level. Newcastle were probably a similar level to what we're going to face tomorrow. But we've got a chance to on a home ground with the fans behind the players, and we saw the difference it made up against West Ham. It really did. And even their players have come off and, you know, were awestruck by the atmosphere that we created. And even our own players were, you know, if you remember Joe Worrell walking Dean Henderson around the pitch at the end of the game, you know, that was to soak it. So basically to tell him, soak in that atmosphere, enjoy what it's all about. Because Joe's never experienced that in the Premier League, and certainly Hendo's never experienced it at the City ground. So it was
he never experienced it at Old Trafford. It's a library there, mate. So
it absolutely is. They can have 3 times as many fans as us, but you don't get the atmosphere.
They're all corporate fans, mate. You know, isn't that real, authentic fans that we've got? But I want to ask you guys, who are you most worried about tomorrow? If we're being like analytical now, if you look at that Spurs team sheet, what are the names that are sticking out to you that worry you a little?
Joe, do you want to shoot first? Go for it.
I mean, you could probably easily rattle off most of their attackers. I know Kane, if Kane gets the ball inside the box and has a chance to touch it and turn towards goal, you have to be looking at a easy shot on target. And you'd like to think he's probably going to be able to put it in somewhere that's going to be hard for Henderson to save, although I have full faith in Henderson and almost saving anything at the moment in his current form. And then Son, his progressive play is just going to be ridiculous. I know he's been a bit off the pace so far this season, but I think it's probably a great time to try and hit the ground running. Kulusevski on the other wing, his pace going against Toffolo, I think could be an interesting battle for them. And then going back to their defence, I think having a shot stopper. I know we managed to beat England's supposed number 1 last weekend after he made a bit of a blunder. But I think going against Hugo Lloris, it's going to be a different kettle of fish. And probably any chance that we create, it's going to have to be a well-worked chance or another just absolute rocket from Ryan Yates, as we saw in the week. I think it's going to be difficult to kind of get goals, and you could easily see them getting a fair few just through the shot firepower that they've got. So I think if we manage to keep it to a close game throughout the 90, I'll be happy. But I think if you're looking at it purely on every player that they've got versus who we've got, it's going to be a difficult one.
It is a tough one, but there are weaknesses in that Spurs team. Yeah, if you their best defender is Romero by a country mile, and he's out. So you're going to have Sanchez, Dyer, and Davies at the back. I would still argue, you know, Dyer is almost a converted into a centre back from his times as a CDM. I don't rate him, and I don't rate Davies. Sanchez is all right, but he has a few mistakes in him. But without Romero there, that back three looks to me like it's lacking in a bit of pace. Sanchez is decent pace. It's the other two. And that's where I want to see the likes of Brennan Johnson sticking to a Davies or a Dyer, dragging them out of position, causing some space for the likes of Lingard, MG Dub, whatever the team's going to end up being, to be in there. And I also don't think their central midfield is as strong as some other teams, because you've got Højbjerg and you've got the chap Bentancur in there as well. They're good technical players, but can the likes of, if Mangala's fit, O'Brien, depending on what the hell team we go, I mean, that's a whole other discussion I'm sure we'll get into. But if they play like they played against West Ham, assuming it's an O'Brien-Mangala combo, they're going to be like ravaged little pit bulls in on them, not giving them the time. You know, Bentancur likes a bit of time to pick out a pass and see through. As long as we can press them hard in midfield, we can win that battle. I really am confident of that. Where we're going to struggle is down the wings with, like you said, Joe, Kulusevski with his pace. You'll probably have Emerson Royale overlapping. There's going to be a lot of responsibility on Tuffalo and Williams to get back, to double up, and then also get forward as well. You know, they should not be able to walk off the pitch after the shift they need to put in tomorrow. But for me, those are the main battle areas. And if we can win that midfield battle, really get in on those two CMs, because we should be outnumbering them. Remember, Spurs play at a 3-4-3 formation. So in the middle of the park, if we're going 3-5-2, we should have an overload in there naturally. And it just depends how deep Kane comes back to get the ball. Maybe he'll play almost like a false nine at times, trying to link the play in between the midfield and their attack. I think it's a fascinating match. Although most people will say they have the better quality team, I just look at the City Ground atmosphere that's going to be there, the desire from the likes of an O'Brien or a Mangala, whoever it may be, to really win that ball high up the pitch. And we can press them. We can. I'm confident. I'm confident.
Yeah. But to answer your question, it would probably be Son Kulusevski that would be the danger man for me. Son's been too quiet for my liking. And he's a quality player, you know, you can't ever write him off, and you do that at your peril. So it's going to be a real tough challenge for us tomorrow. But I think if we come out like we did against West Ham and, you know, on the front foot and start pushing them back, it might be a different game. But you're right, the midfield battle is what we need to win, you know, and I think won the battle against West Ham, and they had obviously Bryce and who else did they have? Bryce and who was it? Who were the two midfielders?
The ex-Arsenal guy. Oh, what's his name? 17.
Yeah.
Iwobi.
No, against West Ham.
Oh, West Ham. You had Rice and Souček.
Yeah. So and we kept them quiet. You know, we won that battle, and that was Mangala and
O'Brien.
You know, we really did get about them. So it will be interesting. So I mean, let's bleed into the next topic, which is basically what do we think Cooper will do with a starting lineup tomorrow? Do we expect any changes from the starting lineup against Everton? Because I'm going to start off on this one. I think I'd love to see somehow getting Freuler in, but who? You know, who do you leave? Ngala. He's just slotted in straight away. He's been there the whole time, and O'Brien has been one of the most consistent players since day one. So who would you leave out, or do you change your shape? You know, so that is something that I think it's possible he will do tomorrow, and go to a flat back four. I might be totally wrong, because you got Kouyaté as well, you know, who can slot into the middle. So if we do start off with a flat back four, maybe he starts him in free in midfield. if we do need to change back to a three and a three at the back, you just move Kouyaté back a space. So it's possible that he could look at that kind of option. But you look at Yates. Yates has been brilliant since he's been back, and he's stepped up. Certainly made the difference in the Everton game, no doubt about it. Morgan Gibbs-White came on and was impressive, but it was Yates was the game changer. He did what Mangala was doing, but getting the shots in, and that just caused them so many problems. And obviously, eventually, that's what led to the goal. But also, not to forget Toffolo's run across the box, which he did against West Ham as well, created the space for Brennan to get a easy tap in. You know, so those kind of tactics will be utilized tomorrow. It's going to be a totally different game to what we've experienced so far, but we do have to win that midfield battle, and I think that we've got the players who can do that. I'd love to see Gibbs-White get a start tomorrow, and I would think front three will be himself, Lingard, and Johnson. But that's my prediction. Any guys, do you think any differently to that, or what are your predictions?
I tend to agree. I think there's going to be a slight shape change. Not at the back. I still think we will go with the 3-5, whatever it is. But I think what he's going to do, he's going to drop a striker, probably Iwoni, and bring in a second 10 in MG Dub if he's fit. There's been these stories about him having a little knock, but he was in the training photos yesterday. I know I'm wearing an In Cooper We Trust, but it should have a little bracket next to it saying, apart from in fitness quotes, you know, because you just never know when it comes to match fitness. He's always playing those mind games with it. My feeling is that MG Dub is fit, and what you saw at the end of the Everton match with him, Lingard, and Johnson, and they were forming these nice fluid triangles. You had MG Dub pulling out to the left, Lingard 1-2 with him, and then Johnson floating out to the right. There was a lot of interchanging going on. I feel like it's going to be something like that. So by the book, you would call it a 4-2-2-1. But I think that front three would be fluid. But what that will allow is the steal behind them. So you'd have another 2 CMs. Mangala, I don't know how fit he is. And probably O'Brien gets a shout there. Now, as you say, I'd love to see Freuler in there. And I'd love to see Yates in there. I'd like to have about 15 players on the pitch tomorrow. The only thing I would say, the only thing that would put me off in my team prediction of putting Freuler and Yates in was because they both did 90 against Grimsby. So I don't know if that has a bearing, and maybe he wants to bring Yates on in the second half like he did against Everton when the Spurs defense is tiring a bit. He's going to make those bursting late runs into the edge of the box. I think that could be an option, but I would like to see Freuler in from the start. If he hadn't played against Grimsby, I'd say Freuler's a definite, because this is more a technical match than it is a physical match when you come up against Spurs. And Freuler's the one who can pull those strings nicely, as Arsenal have scored very late against Fulham here to go 2-1 up. So that's what I think will happen. But God only knows, mate. I'd say we have more chance of winning the lottery than guessing the team. But that's a good thing, because it's going to have Conte thinking as well, you know, in terms of how we're going to set up. I like what you say about the back four, and then Kouyaté being in the midfield, and if we need, can drop in. If he started with a back three, I would drop Cook and play Kouyaté in there because of his height. Not anything against Cook, but Kouyaté up against Kane will dominate. He's what, 6'5", I think? He's huge. You know, he can really dominate Kane, stick to him like glue. If Kane drops into the hole to pick up the ball, he can follow him, and we can kind of narrow between McKenna and Worrell in behind him. There's a lot of tactical, you know, it's going to be almost a bit of a chess match going on in terms of what happens, but it's tough. I don't think any one of us here, and including the guys in the chat, will be able to second guess this team. It's tough. It's tough.
But yeah, I mean, also, and we can't forget it, even though Cooper says it's always the next game, he's always looking, you know, he's looking ahead to the Man City game as well. Yeah. And that is another one where maybe that would more suit a pairing of Yatesy and Freuler in that game. So you never know. Cooper's always thinking a few, like a good chess player. He's always got a few moves. You know, he knows what he's. Although he'll never admit it, it's always the next man up and the next game ahead. But you listen to a couple of his interviews post-season, and he was talking about how they were looking at the table and they were aiming for automatic. That was their aim. The aim wasn't the playoffs. Aim was automatic.
Yeah.
And as they always say, reach as high as you can, because if you don't get to the top, you certainly get a lot further along the way than you would do if you just settle for second best. But it's really interesting. And like you said, bro, we're not going to guess it between us. We could have every single formation line up in our comments today, and none of us will get it right. But Joe, what do you think? Any differences that you'd make, and anything that you're really looking forward to tomorrow potentially, players?
Well, I mean, in terms of the lineup, I think I could probably pick 11 names out of a bowl and just throw them in the air and then say that's the team. I think if he picked all of the midfielders that we've got as an option, you'd probably say, yeah, why not? I'm pretty sure we could work with that. It's a brilliant position to be in, but then it can also leave you a bit frustrated when you're trying to think, oh, maybe this would work, and you keep on questioning what you think the best option is. I think this is probably not the right game to kind of try and change formation right out the gate. I think if we can try and get in the lead early, or at least hold on for the majority of the game, we have to play in a stable formation that we're all familiar with. So I think we will probably stick with a 3-5-2 or like a 5-2-1-2 if we're trying to drop the wing backs a bit more defensive. So then I think the back five's completely unchanged. I understand what you're saying, Wolverine, about swapping out Cook for Kouyaté there. It then gives you that flexibility. I think my only concern with him playing in from the beginning is if he does have a little bit of a lack of match fitness, at what point do you kind of spot where that transition goes in, where he's now getting tired, and then all of a sudden he's being taken advantage of, where you have to then sub him out. You've got a very narrow window where you can try and bring him off without having a negative implication on how he's going to perform and how the team's going to perform around him. So I think he'd be one to
point, because Cook did mention it, didn't he? Cooper did after the Grimsby game, saying he wanted to bring him off about 5 to 10 minutes earlier, but couldn't quite do it because there's a lot of pressure coming on from the Grimsby lot. So yeah, I think you're making a good point there.
So I think back five completely unchanged. Obviously Henderson starts between the sticks. As the up front three, I think I agree with both of you guys. I'd want MGW, Brennan Johnson and Lingard to kind of play as a fluid triangle, where they don't have any set positions. They can alternate who presses, who's dropping back, and who's then trying to make some runs. They can alternate who's playing on the left, who's playing on the right. I think that can then confuse their defenders. And then in terms of like the two holding midfielders, I agree. I'd like to have a Freuler who's going to be, he is going to be, as we call, the conductor in that midfield. He's going to be able to pick up the ball, make incredible passes that you can almost rely they're going to reach their target almost every time. And then I'd want like a workhorse around him, just running around the pitch and just causing problems and never giving anyone any breath. So if that could be either Mangala or it could be
O'Brien.
Yeah, O'Brien, exactly. Sorry, his name I had a complete brain fart there. But yeah, either Mangala or O'Brien. I mean, if we started both of those two, we know that they'd be constantly running around, but I'd want someone in there who's going to be able to just hold the ball and make an accurate pass so that we can then try and play some fluid football at the front. So if I was picking, that's who I'd pick, but it's not my job, and I'd much rather trust the person whose job it is to make that decision, and whatever he chooses, I know we're all going to be right behind him from minute one.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, can we talk about the defense? Because granted, we don't have many options right now. I'll tell you my biggest fear about the defense is if you look at every game we've played so far, we've more or less had 20 shots against us per game, including the Grimsby match as well. And that's a lesser opposition. Okay, we had a weakened team put out as well. But I do worry that if you're giving away, now we all know Everton didn't have a striker between them, West Ham, joke club. But you put it in front of the front three of Spurs. You give them 20 chances in a game. I don't think even I would say they're not going to at least put one of those away, or a couple. And it is starting to concern me a little, the amount of chances we're conceding to the opposition. And I'm not blaming anyone in particular for it, but it's something that needs to be looked at and addressed, because you cannot, this isn't the Championship anymore. You cannot be given 20 chances to your opponents, game in, game out, and expect to come away with nothing. So I am a little worried about the defense. I don't know how they fix it in terms of reducing those chances. I don't know if we need to play a little higher, or if the CDMs need to be winning the ball higher up the pitch, the CM, sorry, winning it higher up the pitch. But I'm just keeping an eye on it. We've got away with it so far, but you can't give 20 chances away a game.
No, and you're absolutely right. Against a Tottenham team, you wouldn't get away with it. Yeah. So what is it? What is the solution? Is it a change of formation, change of personnel, or change of tactics? Something has to change. You're right. It's 20 shots. You can get away with it. You literally can't get away with it in this league. And we're not creating enough in the other. On the other side to level it out, but we are taking our chances at the moment. So far, so good. But yeah, it's something that we can't ignore. But you can rest assured that Cooper's not ignoring it, and they're looking at solutions for it. And whether that be the personnel that we're looking to bring in, he knows best. But yeah, what do you think, Joe? What is there? Is there a quick fix for this, or is this something that we're just going to have to improve with as the season goes on?
I don't think there's a quick fix that we can implement on that. It'd either have to include a change of tactics or trying to change the way that players are trying to play the game when we don't have the ball. I think that's not something that you can kind of swap in a week. If I was making a choice, I'd probably say change formation, go to a more stable four at the back rather than relying on three centre backs and then having two wing backs who are constantly running down the pitch and leaving the wings exposed. If you then drop out a centre back, have a set back four so that the wing backs aren't getting further up and down the pitch, but still playing balls from more of a deeper point rather than trying to get to the edge of the box and cross it in. You then try and, I'd say, stay four at the back, keep two holding midfielders, and then try and play like a 4-2-3-1 where you've got an out-and-out striker up front, and then you still have so if you have a 1-year up top, Lingard in that cam role, Johnson on one side, Morgan Gibbs-White on the other, or have Morgan Gibbs-White in that cam role and Dennis on the wing with Johnson, and then a 1-year up top. I think that would be an option to look at, so that they're then providing that width for the team as opposed to the wing backs, and then we've got a more stable defence, so that we're then able to kind of, everyone can know where they are. They know that they're not going to be exposed on the wings. The centre backs will anyway, because they don't have to wait until the wing backs get back to be able to get in their position. So I think that would be the way going forward, but making that change and trying to change everyone's play style to be able to accompany that, that's not something we'd be able to change very quickly. And I think that would take a lot of time, but now could be a chance to, I think after tomorrow's game, we could then kind of assess how we are going to be able to fare against these top teams. And then we can see, right, as soon as we start letting them have the same amount of shots, 2025, we are going to end up in almost a similar position to Bournemouth today, where you're going to concede quite a lot of goals and it's just going to kill the game off really early. So
yeah, I like what you're saying on the formation. I think the players we brought in suit the formation you're talking about. I just feel like Cooper's always been a 3-5-2 guy from his England times, his Swansea times, etc. But he has come out this week and said that, if we need a formation change, we need a formation change. And what I like about the 4-2-3-1 is that you can still get the wing backs or the RBs, LBs in that formation going forward, as long as you have the CMs who do what Yates and Garner did last year, where they can protect the pocket when Spence was going further forward. One of them could slip into there and protect it. You can still create that extra width and still have that protection at the back. It's a tough one, but I don't really see Cooper changing it yet. Like you say, maybe when we get into that nice pocket of games where we've got Bournemouth, Fulham, Leeds and all those, I think once we get past the Spurs, Man City mountain that we've got coming up this week, we may start to see a bit of a change. And I just think, Joe, what you're saying, this team is screaming out for a 4-2-3-1, and the fluidity you would have would, like you said, I would probably play Lingard out on the left, MG Dub in the middle, Johnson on the right, maybe Dennis or Owoni up front, depending how you want to do it. But there's fluidity, and then you'd have someone like Freuler in behind in the two, with either Yates, Mangala or O'Brien, one of those three in the position next to him. just sounds a lot more balanced to me. And I think Worrell would benefit from being in the middle of a back four rather than constantly trying to have to cover the right-hand channel where Williams has bombed on and left the space, and he's clearly struggling to do it at the moment with his lack of pace, lack of mobility. So I think he would benefit from a back four. And I just think the team would look more balanced in a back four. But if he was going to do it, you would have wanted to see it tested out pre-season in maybe 1 or 2 games to see how it would look. You don't suddenly want to change it around when things aren't going bad on the pitch. You don't suddenly want to change the formula around, in the middle of the hardest league, as we've already started.
Yeah.
It's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah. But you would have thought they're doing some sort of tactical work on their shape. But I kind of expect a bit of a shape change tomorrow. I think this is one of the games where he kind of doesn't want to have that barrage of shots played on us. But we'll see what happens. I think it'll be interesting either way because it's going to be one of the biggest challenges for many years. And but let's just look forward to it. And we're kind of hoping these next 2 games we come up with something. But in reality, I'm not really expecting much. But it's certainly going to be a challenge, and it's going to be there's something to test ourselves against. And we have got a better squad certainly than we did have going into the Newcastle game. And just looking at the bench, and the amount of changes he can make if it's not going our way, that's what fills me with hope tomorrow. So if it doesn't start off well, we have got game changers on our bench now, which we didn't have in the Newcastle game, in my opinion. But yeah, we're all excited. But do you want to touch on, Joe, do you want to touch on some of the transfer links that we've had over the last couple of days and some of the ones that are sounding a bit more solid?
I think the best person to do that is probably the person that made a very good video about it earlier in the day. So we could almost hand over to Wolverine and let him carry that through. I'm thinking if we want to try and, what are you thinking, Ez? Do we want to, I've got the link available if other people are ready and they wanted to try and hop in for the last half an hour.
Absolutely. Pop link in the chat. And anybody wants to jump on with us and give your opinions on tomorrow's game or the Forest in general.
Team as well. I'm so intrigued to everyone's team lineup because I don't think anyone will match. It'd be really good to see. So
absolutely. Yeah, guys, hop on. The link's in the chat. So click on that if you want to join us. But Joe, let's talk about some of the transfer talk. Wolverine, handing over to you, mate. Let's talk about some.
I did say yesterday, actually, I nicked it from someone in the comments. It was the calm before the storm. Winter is coming, as they said in Game of Thrones. Yeah. And today it's just exploding. It's been chaotic today. And we've got to start with one place, the Brazilian international, the Atletico Madrid Champions League player, Spanish league player, one, in my opinion, of the best left backs / left wing backs in the world, is very close to signing to Nottingham Forest. The blowback, boys, I was getting over this one because I think I mentioned it about 2 or 3 days ago when I was starting to get a few whispers in my ears about it. Everyone's like, he's never coming to you. Why would he go to Forest? Champions League, there's other clubs, and there is. Man City were interested in him this summer. Newcastle have been interested in him this summer. But he's a smart kid. He knows where you need to go to, excel your career and everything. But what's really interesting, and I think what needs to be cleared up, is why is he available? I don't think a lot of people understand what's happened. It's not a case of he's fallen out of form or he's playing badly or anything like that. His performances are still top notch. What Atletico have done has had a formation change where they're looking to play a 3-5-2. And what Simeone's got on the left side is Lamar, the French international. And he's using him in a similar way to how Conte used Perisic at Inter and is now bringing him into Spurs as that left wing back, even though he's more renowned as being a left winger, so to speak. So Simeone's done the same thing with Lamar. He's putting him on that wing as more of an attacking option. And, there's an element of defensiveness to him, but he's not like Lodi. And that's put Lodi out of favour based on the formation, not on how he's playing. Now, Atletico were umming and ahhing. Should they sell him? Should they keep him and whatnot? Forest, like I said, 3 or 4 days ago, were talking. There was initial yes from Atletico, then a no. Then it looks like they've spoken with the player, had a discussion. and they've now accepted that they're willing to let him go. But the deal itself, from our perspective, is sheer genius, in my opinion. We're going to pay 5 million euros to loan him for a year, almost, try before you buy kind of thing, with the option to buy at 30 million euros. So you're looking at 4.2 million, roughly speaking, in pounds on the loan, and then about 26, 27 pounds at the end of the year. Now, I'm sure a lot of that will depend on where we're playing next season, etc. But that's agreed. The hard bit now is the personal terms. And this is where Cooper, Dane Murphy, the Greek father as well, Marinakis, is going to come into it all, and they're going to work their charm on him. But for me, if we get personal terms agreed, this one is going to be done probably in the next 48 hours. We may, you never know, see him in time for the Man City game. And it does spark a debate because Tuffalo, we've got Tuffalo and we've got Omar Richards, two new players that we've just brought in. And suddenly they're finding themselves automatically going down the pecking order. For me, the pecking order would be Lodi. Then you got Richards once he's back fit, then Tuffalo. And I do feel, I know we were discussing this over the last 24 hours about, well, Tuffalo's not done too bad, etc. in the games he's been in. I think he still needs some work. I think there is potential in there. But as I was saying yesterday, it doesn't matter what I think, what you think, what any of the guys in the chat thinks. It's clear that Cooper wants another left back. With the links we've had Moreno. We're having big talks with the Spurs guy, what's his name, Reguilon, and now Lodi. These are all players that no one's going to debate are better than what we've currently got. So Cooper's not looking to strengthen the squad in terms of depth. He's looking for a first 11 player here. So there's clearly something he's not liking in Tuffalo. There was a lot of rumors, and I'm not going to chuck gas on him, but the whole thing about how Tuffalo slowed up the O'Brien deal because he wanted more money in terms of it, and he knew that he was holding the O'Brien deal to ransom and he could push up money. Don't know how true or not that is, but I heard a lot of talk about that. And I don't know if that put him already in the back foot or, the bad perception with the hierarchy at Forest. And then obviously Omar Richards getting injured, etc. So it's quite interesting to see. But I think as Forest fans, when this time last year, didn't we have Bong in the team? I'm trying to remember back this far.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And putting Lodi in at left back, Champions League player. He's won the Spanish league. It's just crazy. But what he brings, and the main reason I want him, is to bring balance onto the team. We are too right-sided in our attacking, from our natural instincts. Johnson, Spence a lot last year. Everything was pulled towards that right-hand side. What this will give us is the trust down the left side with Lodi, and Freuler will play on the left side of the central midfield. He'll get those overlapping passes into Lodi going down the wing, etc. It's going to give us just options all over the place. So for me, that's a really good link. Do you want to talk about it or move on to the next one? I'd be interested in your guys' thoughts on Lodi, because I think it's the big one.
I'm 100% agreeing with obviously what you said, and the first time I'd heard about it was actually through your channel. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. But he's another level, isn't he? And this is not to put Toffolo down, because as I mentioned, in fact, both our goals this season were caused by
involved.
For the run he made, for the way he attacked him on the edge of their box. So he's certainly not a player that hasn't done his part. But the rumours, yes, I think there is something in that. But also, if you listen to Cooper's pre-match press conference last week, he was asked about Toffolo, and he mentioned how he spent some time just that day talking to him and seeing that. So I think if it was that initially, if there was any part of it, I think that's done and dusted.
Yeah.
Grudges. I don't think that's how he operates. I just think he wouldn't have anybody, that player, even how desperate as we are, he wouldn't have that player in the team. He'd probably rather have Nico Williams playing left wing back and get Bianconin on the right. So I think if there's any issues, I think in my opinion, he's probably ironed that out. But yeah, Lodi for me, he's another level, and you'd think that it does. You're right, getting that balance right, and it's something that others have commented on, is that we're too right focused. Definitely brings us a balance. But yeah, Joe, what do you think? Are you agreeing on that or not?
Yeah, I definitely think if we do manage to get that deal over the line, Lodi is going to end up being eventually probably our starting left back. I think having him in at the moment, bringing him in now, gives us that healthy competition, especially with Omar Richards probably still out with injury, because at the moment Toffolo's pretty much got a free pass. He knows he's going to be starting every game at the moment. So it definitely brings in that competition for the position. I think something that kind of discussed is if Lodi comes in, does he immediately start in that left wing back role? And I think that's where there's kind of a bit of a debate for that one, because I think if you were starting the season with him coming in, I think there'd be no question on paper Lodi's the better player. Lodi's going to start the season. But I think the way that Toffolo's, especially with the way that Toffolo's been playing, I think we all know the Cooper mentality of he's playing well, so I don't want to bring him out. We saw it last year when Samba got his red card against Stoke, and then Horvath was playing, and Samba was out for what, 2-3 games maybe on the actual red card, and then he didn't come in until after the international break. Cooper was almost giving him that point of he's earned this place at the moment because of what you did. You either have to wait for him to slip up, or you really have to step up your game to earn that spot back. And I think that's just something, it might be a bit of a shock to Lodi when he comes in, where he'll be coming in and thinking, yeah, I'm going to be starting these games. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cooper almost keeps him on the bench and says, we know what you are about. We've seen you play for Atletico, but you have to come here. We're a completely different kettle of fish here. You have to earn your spot. So I think that's then going to just bring a healthy competition. And if that's the way it goes, it's just going to bring the best out of both him and Toffolo. So I can't see that.
Sorry to interrupt. I disagree with that point.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I'll tell you why. The whole likeness to the Samba incident, I don't think is quite right, because Samba got taken out of the team, not because he was injured, because he got a red card. Yeah, so you could. Yeah. It wasn't essentially about form. It wasn't. It was almost a disciplinary thing that happened with him, and you can't have that luxury in the Premier League of bringing a Lodi in with his experience, with his international experience, with his quality, and saying to him, come here, we spent this money on you, but we're going to start you second fiddle to Toffolo. Because he's going to turn around, who's Toffolo? He's not going to know who Toffolo is. We do, but the credentials he comes with, it's different. You can't risk bringing a player of that quality into your team and not blooding him in there, because Toffolo has played decent. He's been getting better. I agree with you. From the Newcastle game, especially when you look at the West Ham game, for me, he was nearly man of the match in that game. And he had an okay game against Everton. Like you said earlier, he played really well in assisting with the assist of the goal, so to speak. But this is the Premier League. The sentiment isn't there. The squad is too big. What I am expecting tomorrow is Toffolo to have the game of his life just by the link of Lodi being there. That's going to be the rocket up him. He's got to be thinking, looking over his shoulder now, saying, Omar may be injured, but they're about to bring on pedigree into this position. And I've got a target on my back. So Toffolo tomorrow should be fired up to impress, because if he doesn't, unless he has a 11 out of 10 performance tomorrow, couple of assists, maybe a couple of decent shots and what have you, Lodi walks straight into this team. That's my opinion on it. Look, we've all got opinions. They're all going to differ and everything. As long as we're respectful towards each other's opinions, let's have the debate. This is what makes football fun. So for me, the Samba thing, I know what you're saying with that, but it wasn't a case of we brought the other keeper in that transfer window and he just changed him out. It was because Samba got sent off. And yes, he extended it a bit. To me, that was a disciplinary action saying, watch yourself. You do that again, I've got someone in here who's put in performances. Because it was around the Liverpool time, wasn't it? Because he had an outstanding game in the Liverpool match. He played really well. And there was competition there. I get what you're saying, but I think the circumstances are slightly different on it, in my opinion.
If I then slightly rephrase it then and bring it away from Samba into something different, when we brought Toffolo and O'Brien in, if we brought in Freuler and Mangala at the same time before the season starts, do you think O'Brien starts?
No.
Do you think, and then O'Brien's man of the match against West Ham, and now he's going to be a very hard player to take out of the team?
Yeah, But do you think Freuler, if he's fully fit and fully match sharp, starts ahead of O'Brien or not? In the situation we're in right now.
Yeah.
I think it's a difficult one. I think, especially with the way that he played, I think it might set a precedent to some of the players where it's like, it doesn't matter how well I play, I'm going to get taken out based off someone else's credentials. I think that we've got someone who might be able to offer a fourth opinion as well. So I'm ready to bring him in. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Just waiting to see if he's ready as well. If you just give us a wave, Liam.
Who's we got?
I'm just going to bring him in. There he is.
Well, I'm a bit close here.
All right,
Baldy. How you doing, mate?
Mate, I've still got hair, look at that.
Oh, I saw a preview of it last night. Oh, right. Yeah. Bless you. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very good, mate. So you obviously been hearing what we've been saying. I'm going to ask you for your opinion on does Lodi, if we signed him tomorrow, obviously not including tomorrow's game, do you think he slots straight into the team, or does Toffolo hold his place?
Well, he slots in, but he won't just walk into the squad. Cooper is, I'd say, the second coming of Cloughy, how he runs the team. No player's bigger than the team, in my opinion. That's where Man United go wrong with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And he's not in the squad right now, but he's arguably one of the best players. Well, he's the best player in their squad still. But he doesn't walk in the team because of his name.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump on it then, because I'm actually gonna. So I think it's gonna be 2 against 2 on this one. I'm actually with Wolverine on this one. I think a player of that quality does come straight in, and it's not a disrespect to Toffolo. You know, if you let's say hypothetically we have got a 1 year, and then hypothetically we signed who should we say?
Haaland.
We signed
Haaland, yeah.
Yeah, we signed Haaland tomorrow. Does he not come straight in? You know, and is that disrespecting the 1 year, or is that a 1 year thinking, look, this is what I've got to aim towards, and this is what
in my opinion, Awoni shouldn't start tomorrow. If we're going on form, I don't think he should start tomorrow.
You wouldn't play Haaland tomorrow if Haaland signed for Forest today.
I didn't say Haaland.
I know, we're on about Awoni.
Lodi, yeah. So let's forget about tomorrow's game.
Awoni's a different. He hasn't
Johnson,
been successful yet, in my opinion.
We all love and adore. Yeah. If we were playing with one striker up front, and we signed Haaland tomorrow, would you drop Johnson for Haaland?
No.
Wow. But this is what it's got to be about, though, hasn't it? It's got to be about not just having. And Cooper's mentioned it in his.
You then give that player the mentality that they're bigger than the club.
Why?
No.
Why? I don't get that.
I get it.
Well, Ronaldo thinks, like, to use the Ronaldo thing, he's bigger than Manchester United. So whatever happens, everything falls back to what's Ronaldo doing, what's the situation there with him.
Okay, so if Freuler were to come in tomorrow for O'Brien, yeah, which could happen, yeah.
Yeah. But he's played, though. He hasn't walked straight into the club.
He's only been here a week. This will be the first.
Yeah, but he's played a game.
Okay,
was Freuler available for Everton?
Huh?
Was Freuler available for Everton?
He was on the bench, but he just signed the day before. Look, I'm just gonna, forget the secondies, right? I'm saying Freuler hasn't played. We signed him 4 or 5 days ago. Yeah. He gets put in for O'Brien. Are you now saying that Freuler would consider himself bigger than the club because he made it into the team ahead of O'Brien?
No, but you're also saying if we signed Haaland tomorrow morning, you'd put him straight into the team tomorrow over any striker that's already played for Forest. That's what you're saying. 2 different things.
Similar things, but yes.
Yeah.
Freuler's played for Forest. He's had that time to play.
And at that time,
if theoretically we signed him tomorrow morning, you're saying you put him straight into the team. What are you saying to all the other players then?
But I don't think it is.
Hard.
I don't think.
It's
That, I
not
don't
that,
think.
yeah.
That's the kind of, yeah, I don't think that's the kind of players that Cooper has in. He's not got players who are going to be Mardy when they're not in the team. Look at Steve Cook's a perfect example. Sam Surridge is a perfect example.
Perfect, yeah.
When he gets his chance, he takes it. He's not Mardy, but he's sat on the bench.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the kind of players that we've got in our squad. I think it is about having, and Cooper touched on this pre-match yesterday, not just having competition, but having quality competition and having the best in class that we can get. Because we're not at the level to be buying for Haaland and spending that kind of over. You know, he's cheaper than most strikers out there, but we're not at that level yet. But when we do get to that level, we're going to have to be looking at players that are going to be the first name on the team sheet, because you know Haaland was bought in and he's not going to be not missing. Every game.
I'd put it this way though: what was Forest's number one signing this season?
MG Dub.
Did he walk straight into the team?
He signed like 4 hours before the cutoff, man.
To be fair, he did.
The argument I'm saying.
No, he did, because most of the other players waited a week before they made match day squad. He went straight into the squad.
Yeah, he went straight in. He
wasn't starting lineup, is what I'm saying.
No, but that he was never going to start that game, you know, and you wouldn't have expected him to start that game. But we were all quietly confident, and I'm sure you were going to the game, but you'd get to see MG Dub that day, and we did.
Yeah,
and
I'm not saying
he hadn't had a training session. He hadn't had a training session, and he played part of that game. Yeah,
but you're saying you put him straight into the team. There's starting 11 tomorrow, which
Lodi over Tuffalo. I put him in twice before. It's you are not envisaging. What's the word? Someone say it for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
The difference in class between Lodi and Tuffalo. Yeah,
and that's not disrespect.
This is the problem with the Forest fan base, or a lot of them at the moment. We're still too sentimental. This isn't the Championship where you can be too sentimental about players. We're at the Premier League. It's cutthroat, man. It's cutthroat. Look at Liverpool. They were being, thrown to the dogs after losing to Man U. This is the team that went toe-to-toe with Man City, 90-odd points last season. 3 games in, they're being slaughtered. Yeah, this is how cutthroat it is. You are not given time in the Premier League to sit there and be sentimental and let players work their way into it. We will be different because we're gelling a full team. I get that. But we as fans can't be over sentimental. Tuffalo's a new player himself. He's not, gained the Yates style level or the Brennan Johnson style levels yet. If you're bringing Lodi in, you play him. It's just simple maths.
It's not a disrespect to Tuffalo to say that. Tuffalo will know Lodi's a better player than him, and it's not something that he's gonna think, I can't be as good as him. He's gonna learn from him and think, I want to be as good as him. I can't see it being the next.
I'm not saying about who's good and who's not, and who's better. That's not the point we're trying to make. I'm talking about changing room. Cooper's main thing for a top flight team is your changing room needs to gel. You bring someone in and put them in after signing them after a couple of hours, you're going to cause a rift in a changing room, regardless of how good
I don't agree with that. But that's the comment I'm not agreeing with. I don't think it will cause a rift. I think the players that he's got in that squad will all be fighting and pushing each other. And don't forget, look at the cup tie we've got next. We've got Tottenham in the cup. He's not going to play the kids against Tottenham in that cup game. So these players are going to get a chance. If they're not in the first, say for example it happened in time for the Man City game, and Lodi, we signed him tomorrow. He's registered in time for the Man City game, and he goes straight in. Tuffalo will get another game. Tuffalo's not out of the picture, and it's not a disrespect for him. But the point that you're making about it will cause unrest in the change room, I don't believe it will. I really don't believe. I don't.
Courage, bro.
Fine.
Look what Sam said just yesterday about how he relishes the competition in places. He scored more goals than Owoni has this season. Yeah. Why isn't, if what you're saying is true, Sam should be banging on Cooper's door saying, how are you putting him in ahead of me? I've scored more goals than him. I've been at the club longer than him. You can't have that
might be a chat that is happening. You don't know that.
I do know what
you can't go off. You see off what on the media.
Yeah, but you do hear about it. If there's unrest, you will hear about it. Instead, he's come out and said literally the opposite, how he's thriving. He's looking at this thinking, I got Dennis around me, I got MG Dub around me, I've got Freuler, I've got these Champions League experienced players around me that I can learn off. It's not all about starting on, you know, that 11 pitch. It's how you can develop yourself as a player. The better the quality around you, the more you're going to develop. The harder you will realize it is to get into the team. Competition is good, not bad.
No.
Yeah,
We
and
look
that's the
at,
point
look
we're
at
trying
it.
to make.
Say again, sorry.
No, sorry. We're not trying to say competition's bad. We know it is, but just going back to the point, I think if we even just look back to the Newcastle game where we had so many different starters, we didn't look like a team. We looked like a group of 11 individuals. So if we then bring in someone who doesn't know the system, doesn't know who is playing around, and just invite him straight in without even having a single training session, he's going to be the weak link. We could bring in the best left back in the world. We could bring in Alphonso Davies or Teo Hernandez in there. It doesn't matter. Yes, he's going to be one of the best players on the pitch, but he could just stand out.
So what's your switch time, Joe? What's your switch time? What's your switch time, for want of a better phrase? How long are you saying they have to be in the club before you can play them?
But they have to have I'd said about a week's training session at least to be able to make the starting squad. And we know that Morgan Gibbs-White came in overnight and then immediately came on off the bench. I think that's almost an outlier, really, where we were in a game where we felt like we had an attacking presence, but it wasn't being properly exploited by a Wanyi. So, you know, Cooper then had that chance to talk through the tactics with him on the bench, get him set up ready, and then bring him on and try and see what he wants to do. I just think.
But could you not argue?
Yeah,
when MG Dub and Yates came on the pitch, they changed the flow of that game.
Yeah.
MG Dub, who had 0 training sessions. Now you can say he knows Cooper's system in and out from years gone by, but he doesn't know the players. And he came on, grabbed that ball, took control of it, made Jesse look like the old Jesse on the pitch. No training sessions, no nothing. You see what I mean? It does.
Yeah.
Training sessions, yes, they help to gel, but there is an element of class that comes with certain players that you cannot ignore. Gel 1 hour, 1 day, 1 year, whatever. There's an element of class that certain players bring, and Lodi is one of those players.
I mean, we slightly went into the hypotheticals with with him having no training and coming straight in. I don't think that will happen. But the point is that he is the better player. So eventually, once he is settled, you'd see him as an actual starter. But to touch on the point,
I wouldn't dispute that at all.
Yeah,
I think
that wasn't what we just argued about for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
you said, is he going to come straight into the squad? You said, is he going to come straight in? No, he's not.
He would be.
He said he's going to train and stuff first, which is why I say.
We're talking hypothetical, so there's no need to go too far off the realistic side of it. But
if you want to take that
in terms of quality, he would be.
All right, so let me ask you this, right? Tuffler has the game of his life tomorrow. Scores a goal, assists 2, Forest win 3-1. Yeah, does the same against Man City. Lodi signs on Monday against Bournemouth. We're a week in now. Lodi's had a full week of training. Who goes in at left back?
Tuffler.
Yeah, you got to be consistent.
If he's the best man on the pitch,
you've got to be consistent. You can't just. If someone's playing well, you do not kick them out of the position.
In that hypothetical,
he's making that kind of impact, but you don't leave him out if he's made that kind of impact, unless he's tired or or injured. So again, that's something for Lodi to look towards, thinking, actually look at what he's done. Look, I'm going to have to displace him. So the competition works both ways. Whether you're the best player or the second best player, the competition has to work both ways, and I think that's what people wants. But we're gonna end this one. We'll go on to next one.
That went on for quite a while. We've had quite a few people giving their points.
No, it's great. It's great because we've all engaged and we've all had different views, and that doesn't make one of us right and any of us wrong.
Exactly, Jamie.
Yeah, but there will be competition, and I do think there'll be more squad rotation than we've ever witnessed under Cooper before. It's not necessarily going to be the player in form always keeps a shirt if we're getting into the stages where we're in more cup competitions and we are progressing, we're going to have a lot of squad rotation. And he wants the best players, doesn't he? He wants competition to be stiff and quality. You know, he's not just getting numbers in. We're seeing now. We're seeing the players we're linked with. We're seeing the players we're actually getting over the line. You know, they're not just squad players. They are, you know, they're quality competition for everybody who's already in there. So it's not going to be
that comment about Champions League.
I think that almost sums up mine and Liam's point.
I'm literally saying you don't just mess up a team morale that have been playing well and get rid of
on this point. On this point, because Manchester United played today, Casemiro, who's won, I think, at least 5 Champions Leagues.
Exactly my point.
United.
He's won multiple Champions Leagues.
Did he start? No.
Yeah, exactly my point.
So you're saying Manchester United midfield was a cohesive, non-broken unit?
Oh no, they absolutely are, and that's why Casemiro is the perfect signing.
Really relevant to it.
He didn't come straight into the team, which is exactly what means.
Fitness. He wasn't starting for Real Madrid beforehand. He was dropped for the French Cup.
He hasn't been playing.
It's a different story, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing. Yeah, it is a different story, but again, let's not go any further with the hypotheticals and what we think. But my point is,
he did start on the bench.
Yeah, because he hasn't been playing for Real Madrid.
Yeah, he has not been playing. He's hardly had game time this season at all, so he's not match fit at all. You know, I'm talking about a match fit player from the squad. You know.
Camavinga's been playing instead of him. Yeah.
Has Renan Lodi been starting for Atletico? It's a genuine question. I don't actually know.
No.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely. So
there's your point back at you.
Yeah. Well, that's the best point to come back with. I would agree with that.
Right, we've got about 5 minutes before we wrap up. Before Media Man drops on. So,
any other business show? Anything else you want to touch on? Obviously, we've got the Man City game to look ahead to as well. We're hoping to do a pre-match for that, Joe. You're up for that, aren't you? We'll do one.
Eve's asked if we're going to be doing a live stream. We'll definitely be doing one in between the game tomorrow and then the Man City game. We'll definitely try and put at least one in there where we can cover the game tomorrow and then looking ahead. And then, I think that would be another one to look forward to. It could be another debate depending on who we've got in the team and how everyone's played.
I want Wolverine back.
Hey, I'm happy to be back whenever you guys want me.
No, absolute pleasure, and great to have you back on, Liam, as well. I know you've enjoyed a nice holiday away, and I can see you've got you almost as good a tan as me, mate. But you're looking
our
well,
colour, bro. Yeah,
looking really well, mate. I hope it's
the white bit.
No, it suits you, mate. It absolutely suits you. I'm loving it. I might shave mine as well, mate, just to join you. But Joe, I'm going to see you at the game tomorrow, and I can't wait. So we've got everybody, and I know Kel's going to be there tomorrow. So Kel, we're hoping to catch up with you. I'm trying to see whoever. Jamie obviously is going to be there. We're hoping to meet you as well, Jay. Jay's. I'll put you in the right direction as well. So just to give you a heads up of what you're being spoiled with, Forest family, tonight. So straight after us, Jamie goes live at 8 p.m. and then at 9 p.m. Door's doing a live stream. You might see me on there as well. So if you get sick of me already, mate, don't. But I'm sure you will tune in for Door. I'm not the draw. Door's a draw. So join in. Please help the other guys as well. I know they've really supported our channel and supported our endeavors. And it's great to have everybody on. We've had content creators on. We've had fans on. We've had TV stars on. You know, it's been a really great start to our channel. We just hit the month. 4 weeks since we started, and really enjoyed all the engagement we've had with you guys. So thank you, and keep it up, and keep liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing our channel. But before we go, I'll let you guys talk about your channels a little bit. Liam, you did your. Sorry, go on.
Quick score predictions. I mean, we can't not give the guys score predictions, can we?
Yeah. Shout out your channels and then give it your score predictions.
Go on then. You start us off.
All right, so youtube.com/Wolverine. I'll be doing the watch along for you unlucky guys like me who can't get tickets for tomorrow from 3:30. We'll have a virtual pitch on there. You won't miss a kick of the game. Me versus my brother who's a Spurs fan. I'm not going to sleep tonight. In terms, and then we'll be doing match player ratings afterwards on a live stream, and then we'll have a little fan forum following that. It's gonna be a long day tomorrow, but hopefully a happy day. My prediction for the match is Forest 3, Spurs 1, with MG Dub to score, Johnson to score, and Dennis to score off the bench.
Yeah.
3-1 to Forest. We always beat Spurs in the Premier League, boys. We always beat Spurs.
Let's hope
Don't
so.
you guys dare
Well,
go against
that sounds
Forest in your
amazing.
predictions now. Don't.
No, I did. I watched along with your score predictions, and but I was surprised as you, mate, with some of the Forest fans and what they were predicting for the game. So I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to go a little bit more conservative. I think both teams will score. I think we're going to win 2-1 tomorrow. But I'm really looking forward.
I'll take it.
Experience. Full stop. Joe, you go for yours, and then we'll get Liam to do his and talk about his channel as well, just for us before we finish off.
So all I'm hoping for really is a close game. I think it's going to be a 1-1 really. There might be a goal either way towards the back end of that, but I can see us scoring, and I can't see us really conceding more than 2. I'm hoping, like Wolverine said, I'm hoping for a Morgan Gibbs-White goal. I think that will kind of get him all kicked off. And then if we do see that triangle of Gibbs-White, Johnson, and Lingard, I think if they can start working well and they get the goal through them, I think then that kind of sets up for us going forwards. But I think it is going to be a cagey affair, especially from us, and the crowd's going to try and keep us in that game. So I'm going for a 1-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's an extra goal from either team somewhere.
Oh,
okay. You know when they say a draw, they really mean they think they're going to lose, but they can't bring themselves to say it.
All I'm saying is, you can say that, but I'm seeing a lot of results here: 2-2, a 1-1. It's a lot of draws in here.
3-1, guys. Come on, we can beat this.
Go then, Liam. You finish us off with your prediction and tell us a little bit more about your channel, because you did your first vlog for a little while the other day on the Grimsby game. So yeah, talk about your channel and give us your predictions, my friend.
I don't actually know. This is the first time in a long time where I don't know what the score's going to be. Like, I predicted Everton 1-0 and the 1-0 stand. The Newcastle one I was off on because I said 1-0 to us, but I don't know. I literally don't know. If we come out and score early, it's going to be a very nervous game for us, I think. They're going to attack us. I'm just gutted Near Carty can't play.
Yeah,
huge loss.
That's my one thing about tomorrow. I think he's going to be our force to be for every Premier League club this year. Every striker is going to get bullied by him. I'll go 2-2. I can't.
Oh, come on, man!
I can't see us hammering.
I'll be excited.
If it comes through 3-1 tomorrow, then fair play to you. I'll buy you a pint whenever at the City Ground. But other than that, I'm not very I'll take 1 point out of these two next games. So yeah, 2-2. That'll be my draw.
Yeah, if we're optimistic, yeah, 3-1. Let's go.
Boys, I'm being realistic. I'm saying 6 points from the next 2 games.
6 points.
If we get 6 points, I'll be very happy Wednesday night.
Yeah, sure.
Liam,
you doing any streaming on your channel, or is it just your vlogs at the moment?
I'm going to try and push vlogs for a bit now. I'll be doing one tomorrow. I've got a brick that's been put up in the stadium, so I'm going to try and find that somewhere tomorrow. And then I'm off. I'm taking my fiance up to on Wednesday, so.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Well, like I say, me and Joe will be there tomorrow. So hopefully, when you got time, mate, we'll kind of catch up tomorrow. Let me know where you're going to be, and we'll be there early enough. I know Joe's going to drag me down there. He should do as well. Yeah, I need to experience the match day a bit more, because the first one was a bit like, I can't remember it.
It always seems a bit rushed at the City Ground.
Yeah.
Every game I've ever been to there, it's rushed. Get in, get out again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
away days are a lot better for it. So.
But
like
guys,
Joe,
I want to hear you. Yeah, I want to have that TV on, and I literally that West Ham game needs to look like a cemetery compared to the noise we're going to get. So this is huge to me, man. I've got to insult my brother after this one, right? We have to win this one. You guys and the rest of you guys in the chat who are there, make the roof come the off. Right?
I think if we keep Son out of the game tomorrow, that'll be the win.
We'll do it. We'll do it, mate. And we'll certainly make the noise, mate.
Probably in more game.
Certainly make the noise. So thank you, everybody who joined in with the chat today. We've got all our usuals in there. Got a few new faces as well. Southpaw Red joining us. But we've got Warren Who, Kev Wrexham, Mark Warwell, Kel, as always. But shout out to all you guys who join in and engage with us. Thank you for everything. And look out for a stream in the next couple of days. Joe will send out the notifications when I sort myself out and tell him when we can do it. But no, should we get a few more? Actually, I've got a week off finally from work, so that's the biggest share of the weekend. I've got a week off, so I'm going to enjoy that. But thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Wolverine, for joining us. Liam, great to see you again, mate, and we'll get you on again soon. But yeah, everybody who was in the chat today and who's watching in future, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Help us grow. Jump over to Jamie's channel if you haven't already left us. But yeah, go over and join him. And if you do get a chance, tune into Doors live stream at 9 o'clock where you might see me there. But thank you, everybody, for joining in. And looking forward to tomorrow. So come on, you Reds, and let's bring something back. Come on, you Reds!